And you are live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm India Oaks, Chair of the Annapolis Education Commission, and I'm calling our October 2021 meeting to order. Before moving on to roll call, I want to welcome those from the public who have joined the Zoom meeting. You are free to provide any public testimony during that part of the agenda, along with provide any comments during discussions on other parts of the agenda. We only ask that you say your name each time you speak, so we know who is talking. That said, if you want to stay silent and just be here listening, that is okay too. No pressure for anyone to talk if you don't want to. Okay, let's start by doing roll call so we can confirm we have a quorum of commission members. Ward 1, Brianna Griffin.
Present.
Ward 2, Jeff McChris.
Present.
Ward 3, Enid Colosimi.
Present.
Ward 4, Kayla Golder. Ward 5 is myself, India Oaks, and Ward 6 is still pending a new commissioner, Laura Booth in Ward 7.
Present.
Ward 8, Jessica Packler.
Present.
At-large member Janet Norman.
Present.
At-large member Ken Starks. At-large member Odessa Ellis. At-large member Grace Matthews. An alderperson Sheila Finlayson. And non-voting member Pam Bukowski.
Present.
Moving on to approving the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
No.
I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any objection? Any abstain? Great. Agenda is approved. Moving to approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the September minutes?
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any objection? Any abstain? Minutes are passed. Next up is public testimony. If anyone in attendance wants to share anything, and remember to say your name when speaking.
I see Grace in the attendees list, just FYI, but not as a panelist.
Okay, seeing no public testimony. Moving to committee updates. I will try to save time since not all committees are active right now. So the floor is open for any committee to give an update, if you have any.
Do I get to give one for, for school start times? I'm so excited. School board voted to change start times for all of our schools starting in the fall of the coming year. So our high schools will start, I guess elementary schools will start first, then followed by high school. I guess elementary schools will starting at 8 to 8:30. High schools will start at 8:30, and middle schools will start between 8:30 and 9 a.m. So all of our students will have
9:15.
9:15, will have developmentally appropriate start times, which is huge for those of us that have been working on this issue for, well, I've been on it for more than a decade. So this is huge, and I am so happy, and yay.
Yes, and the fact that it was an 8-0 vote of the school board really shows how far we've come in making the accepted science and the prismatic transportation consultants, findings and all just be the implementation plan we need. So it sounds like the biggest hurdle now is keeping pressure on the administration to be hitting their implementation milestones. Because just like any of us who have had high schoolers and they save up all the assignments for the last week, they're not going to make it if they are not diligently making progress, and we need to oversee that progress and demand that it's happening.
I will say that at this point, we're going to sort of overlap more into the transportation department, because once we've got the new bus routes in place for this particular iteration, it's going to be it's not just, hey, here are the new bus routes, and then our transportation department doesn't like to change bus routes, so then they're not going to use those exact same bus routes for the next 20 years. We need to make sure that they are continuing to tweak the bus routes, and I'm sure that a lot of the inequalities that we have addressed in the past are going to remain with regard to our bus stops. For example, all of our magnet programs use consolidated bus stops. So students who can't get to a consolidated bus stop can't actually attend a magnet program, even though on paper it's open to anyone. So issues like that we'll have to continue to advocate for.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of transportation, any updates on that?
I do. I just got a message from someone in the public that the live stream for this, it just ended, but apparently it's back up. Never mind. So I do I'm super excited about these school start times, which obviously is also a transportation issue. And as Laura said, it will really dovetail into that and making sure. So Laura, I welcome combining our committees. I mean, you're already on the transportation committees. So, hey, come on twice. So I do have an update. First of all, I have an issue that in Eastport, there is a crosswalk that was temporarily placed a year and a half ago, probably a year and a half ago now, on Chesapeake Avenue. And we have been advocating at the elementary school and as a community at large for more crosswalks on Chesapeake Avenue, because we have a large portion of students who walk from Watergate and all up and down Chesapeake Avenue. And one of the crosswalks that was discussed was put in at Burnside and Chesapeake. It was put in as temporary. It has shown to be quite useful. Students and parents use it, even though the city has determined it's not the best route to get to school. It is the route that people use to get to school, and we can't go out and direct people to walk a different way every day. And so anyway, but there is, because it is a temporary crosswalk, there is a discussion ongoing as to whether to remove it. And the city has, the Public Works office that works on this has said that they need to hear from the community. So I would like to put forth a motion that the Annapolis Education Commission in continuing support of safe walking routes to school for students across Annapolis, asks that the city make the crosswalk at Burnside and Chesapeake permanent for the good of the community and the students at Eastport Elementary.
Jess, is there a crossing guard that serves that intersection or that in that area?
There's a crossing guard that serves 6th and Chesapeake at the light. But when the crossing guard isn't there, if kids are running late or if they're coming to school early or, whatever the reason is, they tend to cross at that crosswalk because the 6th Street light is a really crazy one. There's right turn on red and you just sort of never know whether it's safe to cross. I don't even like to cross at that as an adult. So we do have a crossing guard, but only, obviously during those times, before and after school. So I put forth that motion.
Seconded.
Jess, could you send me the language by email
By email, yes.
or however you get a chance?
Yes. Does anyone have any questions about that?
I was just wondering the best way to facilitate that. Would it be best to have India send that through Sheila because our minutes generally, they go to the city, but we want to make sure that's directly handled.
I would request
So-
that it be sent directly to Lisa Greco. That's what she's requested to receive all
Okay,
support of
okay.
that.
Any other discussion on that motion?
I'm just plugging in to switch to computer. So if you're voting and I miss it, I am in favor.
Okay, seeing no more discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Janice says aye.
Aye.
Okay, so another transportation issue that has come up and that I've been working on recently has been the safety on Forest Drive for Annapolis Middle School students. Although I don't have the numbers yet, and we're trying to look into them, it seems like there are a lot more walkers this year. There are certainly a lot more car riders this year. So there are a couple of issues that have been sort of simmering over the years. And obviously, over COVID, we weren't going to school, but Forest Drive is a very busy drive, and Spa Road is a really busy road. So there's two particular issues that I would like the Education Commission to think about and try to figure out, and that I've been working on investigating. And one is getting a left turn light on the westbound side of Forest Drive. Pretty sure it's the westbound side of Forest Drive, turning left onto Spa Road. As most of you who live down in the neck know, when you're driving to Annapolis Middle, you either take a left at the car wash, which really isn't great for traffic on Forest Drive as a whole, and that road is getting destroyed because so many cars driving on it, or you take a left onto Spa Road, which is what you should be doing. However, when the traffic volume is as high as it is, both in the mornings and in the evenings, it's really hard to take a left onto Spa Road there. And you have people, trying to run the red light to make through because otherwise they have to wait 2 or 3 turn cycles, and it backs up traffic on the westbound side. And so I really think that having done a lot of research on it, by which I mean sitting at that intersection, that a left turn signal would be really beneficial there. It is a confusing intersection because Spa Road on one side is the city road, On the other side is a state road. Forest Drive is a county road, and the lights are maintained by the county, we think. So in terms of trying to figure out that intersection, it is one of the more confusing intersections, which is saying a lot about Forest Drive, because that's fairly confusing. There are no, there are also, the other part about that is there are no crossing guards at that intersection. Right now, the only crossing guards that we have for Annapolis Middle are at Young's Farm Road and Forest Drive, which is the exit for the bus route. But we have kids that walk from Annapolis Middle and go down Tyler. We have kids that walk and go down Young's Farm. We have kids that go down Gemini, and we have kids that go down Spa. Because as we all know, the walking radius for Annapolis Middle is 1.5 miles, and there is nothing taken into account for the safety of those roads. So at this point, we're basically having kids cross over a freeway, or depending on what part of the country you're in, whatever you want to call it, but a high-speed roadway, a high-speed, heavily traveled roadway to get to one of 4 crossing areas, and there are only crossing guards at one of those intersections. And those crossing guards are only there until they're only there in the mornings until 8:35, which is when school starts. And then in the afternoons, they're supposed to be there from 3:15 to 3:35, except recently I've noticed that either they haven't been there or when they have been there, they've been leaving before 3:35, and kids are sometimes slow to get their way to the street. So just in general, there's some concerns going on with the crossing guards. And at a recent Board of Ed meeting, Mr. Staknovich said that the school system was working on getting, had worked with the county, which does the crossing guards at Forest Drive, to increase the number of crossing guards across the county, and to make sure, given the increased number of pedestrians or walkers due to the bus issues and everything else that's going on. I was told by someone within Anne Arundel County, within the Anne Arundel County Transportation Department, that the transportation specialist who plans the walking routes, that we do not need a second location at Annapolis Middle. I would say that we not only need a second, but we could really use at least a third and probably a fourth, but I'd be happy even with a second location for crossing guards. I was also told, which I didn't realize, that on early dismissals, we don't have crossing guards. So this is a serious transportation and safety issue, especially not having crossing guards for early dismissal, because that's when kids who might otherwise get a ride are more likely to walk home because it's the middle of the day and their parents have to work. Excuse the dog barking in the background. So I welcome any discussion or thoughts on how to move forward with this. I am, happy to continue writing emails and advocating, but I would also, love to hear from others, or maybe work with a couple people on making sure. And then this all came to a head the day before yesterday, when an Annapolis Middle student was crossing Forest Drive in the crosswalk with his bike at the light. He was crossing correctly, right? He had the walk signal, and somebody ran the red light and hit him. And it is only by the grace of God that we are not talking about a fatality, and we are talking about a kid who just suffered some scratches. But this is, Forest Drive is too dangerous. And we've been talking about it for as long as I've been on the commission, and it hasn't gotten any safer over the years that I've been on the commission. So, I think, I feel like it's almost every year that a child gets hit. Recently, there was also some construction work that was happening along Forest Drive where the sidewalks were torn up, and it didn't really seem like much thought was given to the 500 or so students that walk to school every day. So you had kids that were walking in the street to get around the sidewalk construction. Again, it's Forest Drive. And these are 11 to 13-year-olds. These are, we're not even talking about high schoolers. We're talking about 11-year-old kids. And this is a serious issue. So I open the floor for discussion on the transportation issue and in Annapolis Middle School. I know there are also issues at Bates as well. If you want to rope them in, Laura and India, please, feel free, and we can, have maybe a larger discussion about this.
I think in general, the issue is with middle school is that they've really, between elementary and middle school, they expand that walking radius. And given that both of our schools actually aren't located too far apart, and they both involve, Spa Road, Forest Drive, downtown, you've got the Spa Circle there at West Street. There's an awful lot of cars that these kids are having to negotiate. Just for the record, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to say it anyway. There are, just to confirm, there are no crossing guards that show up on our extra help days. So on days students can stay later after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays to receive extra help or participate in clubs. The crossing guards do not come back for those later dismissal days. Jess, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And that actually brings up the other incidents that happened this year, which was the Bates student who was attacked on her way to the public bus. And she was taking the public bus. She lives over here in my neighborhood, and she was taking the public bus because her parent works full time. And because of the incident that happened at Annapolis High School, there was a change in the activity levels, from what I understand. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but she didn't have a bus home that day. And so her only option to get home that she saw was taking a public bus. And though actually, even if she had been walking home, she would have been walking in the same exact space and was attacked. And so, fortunately, she ran and was able to call a teacher. If there had been a crossing guard there, that would have been another, safety adult that would have been there to help in that situation. So yes, from what I understand, the crossing guards don't work on extended days or short days. But, all of these issues relate to transportation and safety, and not all of us are fortunate enough to be able to pick up our kids when we need to pick up our kids, or have the freedom of time or the resource of a car, or anyway, that's
It's
Janet's
my
hand.
understanding also that the incident that happened with the Annapolis Middle School student, that the person never stopped to check on the child. And
They
she's
did not.
asking if anybody saw anything between 8:30 and 8:40 to please let them know.
Yes, they did not. So we're hoping that either somebody saw, or maybe one of the city cameras or school cameras may have caught something. Indy, I don't know if you saw, Janet has her hand.
Janet.
Thank you. I just want to say, when I was on Annapolis Middle PTA 7 to 10 years ago, when the issue of the Crystal Spring development came up across from Annapolis Middle School, and I was in with the county traffic engineers and Councilman Trumbauer and others, the city of Annapolis planning director, when I brought up the issue of how do we safely get 1,000 students in and out of Annapolis Middle every day with the new traffic patterns that your development might be producing, what the construction trucks and things coming in and out. And he said to me, Annapolis Middle was not on my radar. And that is the brutal fact that we have to deal with often, is that the student safety of Annapolis Middle School's 1,000 students is not on the radar of many of our planners and decision makers. And when they allot the time that it's going to be allocated, like had we known or advocated, we would have said, please do the road fixing this summer when school is not in session, because this is such a dangerous corridor and such a well-traveled corridor. We cannot have it out of commission during our school time. Do it during winter break, do it during Easter break, do it whenever you need that school is not in session. They are not taking the needs of our kids. And Jess, I totally support. I've been in that left turn lane from Forest onto Spa and done, quick, dangerous maneuvers to try and make that light. And and I see the kids trying to cross on their own. So there has been a concerted decades-long passing of the buck that we can't allow to continue. I mean, I remember when Principal Dennis Kelly, rode in the buses that were getting some rocks thrown at them by kids on the sidewalk. And he tried to get the police in each jurisdiction to help, and they pointed the finger to the other one. I mean, the principal could not get the help he needed at that time. So unless we demand that the city pays attention to this, our kids are going to continue to be in jeopardy. So I would urge us all to demand it finally, please. Thank you.
Just for history, I will repeat this forever. Forest Drive has been dangerous since my days at Annapolis High School, when it was labeled the third most dangerous road in the county after Route 50 and Route 2. So this is a multiple decades old problem never addressed. And I don't even want to say out loud how horrible some of the fatalities have been for kids over the years.
I mean, I saw these same problems when my kids were at the middle school, and my youngest graduated from the high school in 2010. So, I mean, you're right. This is an ongoing problem that just keeps being pushed away. But Jess, I'd be interested in working with you.
Great. I'm wondering if maybe we can, I mean, we have the transportation committee, and maybe we can work to put together a meeting of our various, I mean, especially since Annapolis Middle border state, county, and city roads, that we can put together a meeting of our the various representatives, and then maybe public works from each area, and start trying to figure this out, because I feel like we talk about it a lot, but it's clearly not being fixed. I mean, exactly what you said, Janet. It's especially, I think, so Bates and Annapolis both suffer from the same problem, but different. Annapolis Middle suffers because it's a triangle of county land in the middle of the city, and Bates suffers because it's the city land in the middle of the city. So Bates suffers because it gets lost in the, oh, well, that's city stuff. It's not really the county's job. And AMS gets lost in the, well, it's county stuff because it's not in the city, but it's not really in the county because it's just on its own triangle surrounded by the city. So it's a weird, just politically, it's a weird location for, it's an issue, weird issue for both of the schools. But I think that if anyone else is interested, and then I will start putting some feelers out and try to get some meetings going and really get some changes made, because our kids deserve it. I mean, I also think that our kids deserve a smaller walking radius, but that's something that we've been talking about. I think we'll have to wait to bring that up until after the school start later, unless there's a way to bring that up with Prismatic. I don't know. I guess Joanna isn't able to be here tonight, but to have, if there's any way that we can advocate that be looked at, 1.5 miles might work in a suburban or rural area, but 1.5 miles over busy city roads is not working in our small urban city.
I know I said exactly that many times that I testified at our school board, especially with regard to, as you're looking at start times, let's also make sure that we're addressing some of our other transportation issues. Since they haven't thus far, I do think it is something that we need to continually bring up to the Board of Ed, and make sure that as they finalize the routes going into the new school year, that is something that they are looking at.
And Laura, were you gonna mention the new bus advocating to get it moved for the Annapolis High School? Do you know anything more? I don't know anything about that.
That was a suggestion, a point that Jess made, which I think is valid. And actually, I had sent some questions to Jolyn Davis at one point, and she had responded back saying, "Oh, it's great that the community is pulled together and that they can take students can take city buses to get to and from school," which I sort of found a bit ironic because there is no city bus stop at Annapolis High School. In order for a student who lives in the city of Annapolis to get a bus ride home, they need to walk all the way down Riva Road, which is 6 lanes there where it crosses around, and that there's that whole intersection with 665, none of which I want my child walking anywhere near, and because the closest bus stop there is Festival at Riva. So I don't even see city buses as being remotely an option for our students at the high school, because we're basically saying, hey, why don't you walk on through one of the busiest interchanges in the city of Annette, or in this portion of the county, in order to get to a bus stop. So I do think it is something that we should bring up to the city specifically, and point out that now, Jess, you said there's a bus that goes down to Edgewater, but that goes down not down Riva, correct?
Yes, it goes down not down Riva. And I just want to show real quickly, if it's okay. I had shared this with
While
I
you
had shared this
Yes,
with
while you do that, can I ask, isn't there a bus stop at the Heritage Building on Riva that's still, a good walk from Annapolis High School itself? I thought there's a bus
It
shelter.
is a county bus.
County.
But it's not, that's not city.
Right, so
county.
that's what
So
I'm
that-
going to show you. So that's what the city recommends taking though. So here are the 3 options. If you're leaving from, say, downtown Eastport, like the Peninsula and Eastport, and you want to get to school on time, you can leave at 5:43 and walk to the shopping center, take the red bus to the mall, then wait, take the blue bus 210 to I think it's Riva, or it's the shop. I mean, it's either the Heritage Center. I think it's actually the bus, the park and ride, and then walk. So that's an hour and 19-minute trip.
Yeah.
Or you can take the green bus to downtown Annapolis and then get on the blue 210, which is one of the DC buses, to the park and ride and walk. That's an hour and 7 minutes. Or you can, anyway, these are the 3 options that if you're, and if you have any questions about how it works, you can always, the city has a great app that shows how hard it is to get to Annapolis High School by bus. So it's great that we can ride the bus, but what we really need is a bus stop at Annapolis High School. We have 2,200 kids, all of which, well, almost all of which, the majority of which, 90% at least of which, come from the city of Annapolis or the surrounding area that would be captured by the city of Annapolis bus area. And, it doesn't make sense to not have a bus stop there, especially when we have kids that are playing sports, kids that are in clubs, kids that are in drama, kids that are in art, whatever activities, volunteer activities. Again, if they don't have the fortune of having a parent who can pick them up, or their own car, or, then they either can't participate in the activities or they're destined for, and that was the morning times. If you go in the afternoon, it's a 2-hour bus ride. So, it's not a feasible situation.
Mhm. And just also as a reminder to everybody, you guys already know this, but our high school is 55% farms population with maybe an additional 5% who don't fill out the forms. So we're talking 60% low income families of 2,200 students. So, and even past the farms free and reduced meal status, a lot of families don't have an additional vehicle to take their kid home during work hours. And as much as you can try, we need efficient public transportation to and from high school.
And I just want to add to that too, for the after school, like extra help days and things like that they offer. the one thing that the Prismatic consultant said during the last Board of Ed meeting was that because the high school will now be in the middle of the runs, elementary, then high school, then middle school, because those buses will be then occupied doing middle school runs after the high school, the odds of there being more activity buses at the high school level for things like extra help or sports or things like that will be reduced. In the past, I know some years ago, and not while my son was there, but I know before that, they used to have activity buses that would run, I think, at least 2 days a week. So the kids that needed extra help, or wanted to stay for an activity or something could stay and then get a ride home. But they haven't had them for the past couple of years, just in general, because the transportation department has not been able to meet that need. And it's very unlikely with the new school start times that they would be able to meet that in the future. So I think demand for that particular bus route or for there being a public transportation option will be increased, in the future, because there will be less possibility of the school system being able to cough up a bus, or many, given how large the area of attendance is for the Annapolis High, so that in the future it will be even harder to get to transport students home who need to stay for any reason.
Not even the activity buses, just getting to school if you miss your bus or you wake up late and your parent can't take you to work, right? I mean, we should have a way that our kids can get to school that doesn't rely on parents or a $20 Uber ride. If we want to stop absenteeism, then we have to make sure that the kids can get to school.
Right. I just want to reiterate Laura's point, because I know that Principal Chittum, the former high school principal, told me herself, she had the money in hand to pay for activity buses and could not get them. So it's not that point. It's like we really need to reroute the city buses to Annapolis High to serve our population.
So I guess maybe we could make a motion asking the transportation department to please create a bus stop at Annapolis High School and service it with buses. I'm not, if anyone has, it was easier when we had a chat.
Jess, are you saying that the bus doesn't stop at the Heritage anymore for the kids at Annapolis High School? Has that bus stopped?
I mean, not according to the transit map. Not according to the city's mapping software, no.
Okay.
I'm trying to, what is that called? The Heritage Center?
Complex. Yeah, Heritage Center. It's like 2600 Riva Road or something.
No, it does not. There is no stop.
Okay, because years ago, I advocated to get that bus stop there. And I forgot the lady who was in charge of the city transportation. She wanted the bus to come all the way on to the school grounds, but I told her, no, I don't think that's a good idea. But the bus used to stop right there in front of that Heritage Complex. I don't know how long it's been gone.
I guess I don't understand why we have a bus that goes down Route 2 to Edgewater if we don't have a bus that goes to our high school.
Well, I advocated for that too. It used to go to Kmart. And the reason why I was going down there was because it used to go all the way over to the
Sojourner College, right?
To South River.
Okay.
Because they had summer school down there and the kids needed transportation. And so the bus used to go all the way over to South River High School. But I think later on they changed the stop to just to Kmart. So does it still go down to Kmart? I'm not sure.
I think it still goes to Kmart, but it alternates its schedule and it goes Kmart to town, from town to the community college. And then that's the route that it takes. And I only know that because when I was assigned to Southern High School on Fridays, we did community-based activities with our ACC students. And quite often we would get a school bus to take us to Kmart so we could get on this Kmart bus either to come into town or to go up to the community college. But because of the length of time, it's, I mean, it's not even like a regular route. It's almost like a 2-hour kind of thing.
Yeah, right. It is long.
And there's no more Kmart. It's gone.
So does the bus still go there though?
I don't know, but
Probably, yeah. I think it emphasizes the point that the city might be in patterns that served them long ago, but we need patterns of circulation that serve our population now. And so I think requesting an urgent meeting with them and the mayor and the transportation and the city council to reconsider the best transportation routes for our Annapolis population. And so instead of just like having them plunk one bus stop there, that then it's also difficult. You know, I don't want to be too specific about exactly what our motion is in case they put it on a line that most of our kids can't get to and it's still long. I think we need a re-examination of all the routes that the city functions at and how can we best circulate our students through town and to school.
I agree. Because there's also, as Laura mentioned, there's also the magnet, you know, if you have kids in the Bates area who go to Annapolis, want to go to Annapolis for the magnet program, or kids in the Annapolis district who want to go to Bates for the, if they can't utilize the consolidated bus stops, and there's no public. So maybe that's part of the whole conversation we have with the committee about safety.
Looking at the map that's on the Annapolis City website for the transportation routes, the closest bus stop, the closest routes go to Festival at Riva. There's nothing further down Riva Road. So that would be, and again, a kid would have to walk all the way down Riva Road and then would have to cross somewhere around, either cross Riva Road, which is itself a large, busy road, particularly as you get closer to 665, or they have to somehow get through, some way they're going to have to get through that intersection with 665. So either walking, dodging cars coming down the entrance and exit ramps off 665 onto Riva Road, and then cross that under the overpass there to get to the far side, and then somewhere either before or after that also cross Riva Road to get to Festival at Riva to pick up a bus.
Wow.
I'm looking at something online and it says that there is still a bus stop at the Heritage. It says Riva Road Heritage. The yellow line, AA yellow line, Monday through Saturday. So I thought I saw that bench there and I thought I saw some kids there. That is still there.
Can I share my screen for a second and I'll show you the map that I'm looking at?
So maybe it's horribly communicated and it's not
This
functional for new people to know about. And
So the high school would be down here off Riva, and they're not showing anything going past, Festival at Riva looks like the closest. Now that yellow line, it's a state shuttle route major down here. I don't see that that's showing anywhere. That's showing a yellow line here. So I'm not sure what line would be going down here, but I'm, looking at the route map that I'm seeing here, I still see here's Riva Road, and then we've got, Harry S. Truman, and then Aris T. Allen intersection here. And then they would have to somehow get to the other side of that to pick up any route, regardless of which route which bus, whether they get on the purple, one of these purple ones, they still have to get through that intersection.
Well, the one I'm looking at goes to, from the mall to Housley, to Riva Road, Holiday Court, Truman Parkway, and then the Heritage. So this one doesn't show the route that way.
Does it show the times at which
No,
that
it
bus
doesn't have the
goes?
times. It just says Monday through Saturday service.
Because I'm using, when I put together those maps, I was using the city's transit map that they tell you to use to plan your routes. So there is, when I was just playing with it, there is a yellow route that shows up, but it
Yeah.
doesn't show up listed as one of their routes, and it only shows up in the middle of the day. It doesn't show up at any of the times when I'm trying to route bus to
I
get to
think
school.
it may be
or-
because this is under the county.
Hmm.
And you're looking city.
No, this city one includes all of them. It includes county.
It
It even
does?
includes
Well,
the
it
D-
says,
it even
discounted
includes the
rates
Patapsco light rail.
for students and with valid student ID and for seniors and persons with disabilities.
Enid, can you send us the link that you're looking at so that after the meeting, we can take a look at
I'll
that?
try.
Thank you. But however it's structured, it's horribly communicated. And if you don't know the word of mouth, and maybe it's at the wrong times, and we need to fix all that.
Oh. Okay, the times start at, oh God, this is so small. The times that they stop there at are 6:28, 7:28, 8:28, all the way through to 6:28 in the evening.
Is that a current? So that you're saying that's the city bus? Because I don't see that.
No.
I'm looking at the city bus routes and I don't see where you're talking about that. I don't.
Here,
see
let
where
me
that
share
is
my
at all.
screen. It's a county route, Jess. I found it. Let me
Right.
see if I can share my screen again.
But I'm also wondering why that doesn't show up on the transit app, because the transit app also includes the Patapsco light rail, the DC.
Yeah,
commuter
that's it.
buses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it does show something at Heritage Court here, but again, that's a county. So again, it's not, they would have to, whoever is navigating this would have to figure out how to take a county line to get to, I guess, the mall, so they can transfer to get onto a line, because this line doesn't go anywhere near where most of our students would need to go.
And
so they
it's
would
not
still have,
included on the transit app that the city says that we should use to
Right.
find our
right,
routes.
so.
So in general, we just need to make sure that kids can get to school. That's major thing.
Well, it says for more information, call Anne Arundel County Office of Transportation 222-74400. So maybe you can find out just why it's not included on the.
Kids don't call phone numbers. They look things up, and if it's not there, they give up.
Yeah, agreed.
Right. If it's
They
not
won't
on an
talk to a
app,
human. They won't talk to a human.
But again, I think this is when if we set up some sort of a meeting to talk about transportation, like cross location of crosswalks, I think access to bus transportation should also be covered under that. Because again, what we really need to get is we need AACPS, we need the county, and we need the city to all sort of sit in the same room and deal with some of these issues, whether it's a kid that's trying to walk across Annapolis to get to Annapolis Middle to go to school, or a kid who's trying to get to school at Annapolis High School. And I think it's clear, especially when the buses don't run, as has happened this year, kids have gotten stranded. We definitely
And
don't want
injured.
kids, and injured.
So Jess, do you still want a motion, or do you want to just first set up a meeting?
I think I want to first set up a meeting. Dewan was just letting me know that there is a 5-year transit plan that is working on the routes now. And he does not believe that academic settings were brought up during our workshop. So I'm going to reach out to him and see what we can do. I think, this is one of those issues where I wish there was better communication and connection between the different committees, or that some people in the city remembered that we have an education commission that can help with, all
Right.
of these types of things
Right.
that affect our students, because, we have a lot of students here in the city of Annapolis. And I feel like they just get left behind. That's obviously something we've all been dealing with for as long as any of us have been on this commission, but it really needs to stop. I mean, these are all city residents, and it feels like whether we're talking about recs and parks, whether we're talking about after school care, whether we're talking about transportation, our students get lost in the middle. So
Yep. Thank you, Jess, for tackling this.
you're welcome. That's my transportation report.
Okay, moving on. Any other committee updates?
So I have one just from the career and college pipeline. I sent an email. Annapolis High School just had its, statewide career and college week. Kind of connect with your counselor, think about, and they had different days, how to fill out the FAFSA. And one of the days was Military Day, that the counselor was going to arrange for military people if any of the kids were interested. I never got a response back of what they did, if it was anything beyond the Naval Junior ROTC instructor talking to the kids. I just sent a message that hopefully all of you received. I sent it to the counselor because I called the individual recruiters for Army, Air Force, and Coast Guard and things to see, have you been in touch with Annapolis High? Because that is one, the enlisted routes is the enlisted options as well as the officer training options. I don't think our kids are being exposed to those pathways that help them pay for a future launch. And so the recruiters that are all contacted, there's a lot of turnover in recruiters. So sometimes there's new numbers and so-and-so is not there, but they had not been to Annapolis High or connected with Annapolis High. And I think that is a loss for our students to not be exposed to that choice. So I did send a message around. I haven't heard back from the Annapolis High Counseling Department yet, but I will let you know how we are hoping to strengthen that. And I sent a message, and I sent the message also to all our decision makers as well as you. I sent it to our state senator, our county councilwoman, our 2 state delegates. It's like, what other options besides, military pathways, what other options do you want to strengthen? Because I see our 2,200 students and the ones who are not got a way to pay for incredibly expensive college. I don't see how they are matching into the job careers that are out there. Like, how do you get your CDL license? How do you get your, medical certifications without a lot of money to pay for community college or whatever? So I want to see us strengthen those career and college pipelines with the venues that have opportunity and money to help our students pay for those. So I'll let you know if I hear back. And if anyone else has ideas, please send them.
Well, if we can prepare our students from kindergarten to 5th grade in elementary school, so once they start middle school and be able to qualify for vocational or VOTEC, then maybe we can help them get into some of these careers. But
right. You've talked about it. You've talked about it for a long time, Odessa, that we used to do a better job of matching kids into VOTEC careers. And now it's a very small Cat South program. And what do the rest of our students do? And how do we launch them into successful careers?
we're just going to have to figure out how to keep them really interested in coming to school. I mean, there's so many distractions going on now. I mean, I've been watching on the news talking about Facebook and all this stuff, the social media that's just destroying the kids' lives, really. So I don't know. I just think that, we need a lot of reforms in the education system, but, it doesn't seem like anybody can come up with any kind of ideas to reform the system.
Well, I think if the kids don't see a guaranteed path forward, what's their incentive to help pass some of these classes that don't seem relevant to them? So,
well, I mean, I think you should be able to catch them in elementary, but we don't, right now, by the time they get to 6th grade, they already got discipline records and police records and everything. Now, elementary kids, ridiculous. We just need to be more creative and come up with some remedies and to try to reform education. But, We're
Mhm.
still, I mean, a person told me when I first started out, and that's been almost 20 some years ago, he said, we teaching these kids like we back in the 1930s. And you know, it's still that way. We're going backwards. I don't see where we're going forward.
Mhm, mhm. One of the things that I protested at the time was the closure of the summer camps at Cat South. My kids went through and did, you know, welding and carpentry summer camp, and they got exposed. And this was in 7th and 8th grade. And they got exposed to what Cat South had to offer. And then AACPS stopped offering those summer camps at Cat South. And I just don't think that we let our, like you said, our middle school students know of those options, get excited about doing them, see how well they pay, and we're just losing that valuable pipeline to reach more kids. So if anybody else wants to join in that effort, please let me know.
Okay, I'll work with you.
And like I said before, yeah, please do get on the Annapolis High Facebook page, because our signature program counselor, Becky Berhogan, posts an amazing number of you know, job fairs and apprenticeships and launching paths for they're open to everybody, not just the signature students. But she really gets a broad spectrum of career pathways out to the kids. And so I think the parents need to see it to reinforce it. Kids,
Okay. Janet, you talking about me now. I'm talking about myself. I don't do Facebook. I guess I need to try this to get into it, but
you should just to see what Ms. Hogan, all the good things Ms. Hogan is paced.
Okay, I mean,
for opportunities. It's really
okay. I'll try.
or you know, stop by and talk to her weekly and get like newsletters, flyers, whatever way that you can then disseminate it to kids or talk to kids about. Like if you can say, hey, you know, I saw this flyer, and this Saturday I want you to go to Pitt Moyer, and I want you to go to that marine trades job fair, because all of them can't get enough employees, and we can't connect our kids to these good, well-paying jobs.
Before we move on the agenda, Madeline, can you let Intendra Langley to the meeting? She has been trying to get in.
I haven't seen anyone pop up in the attendee list. Does she have the right link?
I just resent it to her again.
Okay.
So if you could just keep an eye on it if she comes in.
Yeah, I will, but I've been sitting here watching the whole time, so I'll make sure.
Okay. I was thinking, Corey, did you want to introduce yourself?
Do you need to refresh?
Sure.
Is that okay, India? I don't know if you had that on there, but I just figured. All right, Corey, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. My name is Corey Mackel, and I've been living in Eastport for 13 years. I have two young girls, ages 13 and 14, that attend Annapolis Middle and Annapolis High. And I really wanted to get on the committee because it's important to me to try to be proactive instead of reactive to a lot of the things that are going on in the school or whatever. So I'm hoping that I can try to make some sort of difference or add my opinion where it would be helpful. And that's it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Corey, for joining us and giving that valuable perspective.
Yes, thank you. Ward 6 has been long in need of a representative, so it's great to have you stepping up. Thank you.
Thank you guys as well.
Thank you, Corey, for jumping into this group. Before we move to unfinished business, I'm happy to open the floor to Kendra to speak on the accident.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I am in the midst of mommying right now, so I do apologize for the background noise. But I wanted to speak on behalf of my son, Micah Anglin. He goes to Annapolis Middle School, and he was involved in a hit and run incident, accident while he was riding his bicycle to school yesterday morning. Thankfully, he is able to come home and tell the tale. But as we know, there are a lot of children who are not able to do that. And I really wanted to share his story, our story, because as a mother, I definitely feel like no one should have to get that call in the morning regarding their child being involved in a hit and run accident, let alone that their child is injured or whatever the case may be. They should be able to ride home or ride to school and make it there safely and return safely. And the incident that involved my son yesterday, he was at the crosswalk, and he knows that he's supposed to ride on the sidewalk. He knows that he is supposed to abide by whatever traffic regulations. He knows that he needs to wait for the sign in order for him to cross. And he did everything that he was supposed to do. Someone took it upon themselves to, I don't even know what their situation was. As we know, Forest Drive is quite busy in the morning. And so my assumption is maybe they were running late or whatever the case may be. It definitely doesn't excuse the fact that they ran the light. They struck my son. He was left in the middle of the road. And if it wasn't for a bystander, or not bystander, but another gentleman who was in his truck to get out of his vehicle and to go into the road to help my son out of the road because he didn't know what to do, and help him up on his bike and walk him across the street, we probably would be having a different conversation right now. So, as it stands, we are new to Annapolis. We are new to Anne Arundel County Public Schools. And so this is the first time. I have 3 children, and this is the first time that I've ever experienced any such thing. And, I definitely don't want any other mother to go through it, or child. My son did not know what to do. He hopped on his bike. He went back to school. He didn't tell anyone what happened because he didn't know what to tell them, that he had gotten hit on his way to school. And so it was the driver who helped him up, who called the police, that actually went to the schools to inform an administrator that my son had been struck down by a car who left the scene. So, that was the first call that was the first thing I saw when I woke up, because I have a small child that you can hear in the background, and I was taking that morning power nap. Because as we know, that's the one good thing that we got for sending the kids back to school, is we can take a nap. And that was the first thing that was the first message that I saw this morning was, Mom, I got hit by a car. And my heart dropped. I wanted to vomit. I felt sick. I was emotional. I felt guilty for sleeping. I felt guilty that my phone ringer was off. I had gotten messages from the teacher and the school nurse and the police officer, and I was not there. I was 2 hours late. 2 hours late, my son could have been bagged and tagged somewhere. And that should not have to be, no one should ever get that call. No child should ever have that, should have to have that as a part of their day. And though my son is very resilient and he is, you know, he didn't say anything. He's playing the cool guy role. And I'm like, you don't have to be cool all the time. You know, he was worried that I was gonna, excuse my French, shit a brick, but I did, because that's my son. So now, you know, right now we are going through a legal process. I did get lawyered up, and we are in contact with police officers, the police officer, the school. We're trying to figure out, Jessica and I was talking about how we're going to make sure that there isn't anyone else who have to get that call in the morning. But our life has changed. It's definitely changed in the moment. And I don't wish that on anybody, but that is my story.
We really appreciate you coming to share your experience. It's so important for the public to know what happened and how traumatic and dangerous it can be. Can I ask if your son is getting any counseling support from the school?
Oh, my camera. He is, as far as he getting counseling from the school, he has spoken to a guidance counselor. Right now he is in the process. I picked him up early today. We've probably been to at least 4 different doctors since. His pediatrician did recommend that he get a form of counseling, because my concern is that in his strength, it can harbor PTSD. And I don't want that for him. He's so strong. And while he is resilient, resilience doesn't mean that you are so strong that you can't seek help. And I'm a firm believer in that. And so we are looking into that. And we do have that line as a form of therapy, just to talk about what he experienced and to know that it isn't his fault. And, you know, that I am here and that there are people here that's there to support him through this situation.
That's so important to hear from you, Kendra. Thank you. As you heard, I don't know if you heard part of the earlier parts of the meeting, is that this has been an ongoing problem that they've ignored, and that, you know, we've had previous kids hit on their bike at that exact crossing. And it is, when I was there at Annapolis Middle, and it is traumatic for everybody. And I can't imagine how traumatic it is for the family.
And it's not okay. It's definitely okay. I don't know what was taking place or what anybody put in place, or if anybody fought hard for that, but something has to change.
Yes, agree. Thank you for helping.
One of the things earlier, Kendra, we are putting together a committee to set up a meeting with the various state. I was explaining how that area of road involves both state, county, and city roads and jurisdictions. So I know you and I talked about that, but I would love to have you join us and have this, work on this together.
It was my great pleasure. For real.
I'm glad that he's doing fine. He's doing okay, the young man.
I'm still watching him. He's a stewer. He stews. And so he was very angry, as we all were very angry about what had happened. I think the biggest thing is not, which I raised him to be emotionally intelligent. And the biggest thing is not that somebody made a human error. That was obviously a human error. Perhaps negligence to pay attention, but we're human. But where he's upset, which I am upset, is that the person did not stop. They did not stop. They did not check to see if he was okay or if he was injured. They did not help my son out of the street. And that is that part that kind of take you far beyond being a human and possessing those emotions of empathy and sympathy. And that is where he is very upset and he's angry about. And he's rightfully so to have those feelings. So we're just exploring those. That's pretty much where he's hurt the most. And we're watching that. We are watching that.
Well, you know what? I watch a lot of court TV, and I tell you, I'm surprised at the number of people who do not have driver's license and insurance on their cars. So that's probably the reason why the person didn't stop. Either the person didn't have a driver's license or car insurance. It's a lot of people out here driving with no license and no car insurance.
Well, it's unfortunate because should we find that person that doesn't have a license or car insurance or whatever their situation is, their problem is way bigger than not having license or insurance. They're going to go to jail.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad he's not seriously hurt. Thank God for that.
That's grace for sure.
Yep.
Any other comments for Kendra?
Just that we're going to follow up on this and not let, things sweep under. So Jess, can you put me on that committee of people who meet with? Because I want to bring up hey, I was there in the room 10 years ago when we brought this in, and the planning director said it's not on the radar.
Yep, of course.
Thanks.
And Kendra, just keep an eye on them because kids sometimes takes, especially with trauma like that, it takes a couple days to really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I know my son, which is why I already have him lined up. It was a little late for me to make the appointment today, but tomorrow he's going to be on the first thing smoking to somebody's couch.
Yeah.
Kendra, thank you again for coming tonight. You are free to stay, but we see how busy you are with 3 priorities.
Yes, it's quite exciting. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Thank you for coming.
And I hope we can help you with Annapolis education issues that are more beneficial to your family. Like once this awful thing gets resolved.
More positive.
More positive, yes. Please come back to us as we've been through the system and we would love to help you. And we're so sorry that this is your introduction to Annapolis. Please let us help you make a better system for your family.
Actually, Kendra, I highly recommend Janet and Laura as going into high school counselors, parent counselors.
I was Annapolis High PTA president, and I know after 7 years, I finally learned a couple things. And Odessa works at the high school, and Pam's 6 kids went through the high school, and so we have Laura's kids. So we have, this harder.
And Corey and I are figuring it out, freshman moms. So
harder knowledge that we would love to help you with.
Listen, I want it all. I don't know, Jessica. I met Jessica before I even integrated into the system. I just moved here to Annapolis in October of last year. I was pregnant with this little woman right here.
Wow.
And I just wanted to make sure, because I've had my fair share of navigating through the system, and you gotta know somebody, and it's important to ask questions and have that village. And so it feels.
She agrees.
Well, yes. Happy birthday to the new nugget.
Yes, she agrees. She just had milk, so she's so excited. Sorry, guys. But I will keep in touch. I do hope to connect with all of you. I do need that assistance because I definitely want the best. I have 3 children and I have a first grader and a new baby. So I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that village. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, moving to unfinished business. We still have scheduling commission meetings on the agenda. I never heard back from Alderperson Finn Lazen about other potential meeting dates. So do we want to stay with the 4th Wednesday of the month moving forward, with the exception of November? if we want to avoid the night before Thanksgiving.
Fourth Wednesday for November and Christmas too, right? Wouldn't be Christmas be around the fourth Wednesday? When is Christmas?
22nd. It would put us on the 22nd of December. So that would be, I know, I think was it last year that we missed 2 meetings in a row, or we did something, I remember, but we had conflicts 2 months in a row.
There are no city council meetings in November, so maybe we could move the November meeting to the 22nd, to that Monday. So that we're not having it on the night before Thanksgiving. But I move that we have our meetings on the 4th Wednesday of the month, except for November, which we have on Monday, the 22nd.
Do we still want to meet on the 22nd of December? I mean, technically, I guess the kids still have school on the 22nd and 23rd, but that's awful
We don't want
close
to
to the
meet.
break.
We don't want to meet that night.
Yeah.
Yes, Jess, I think that's a great, I second your motion for the regular meeting time and the November alteration. And we just have to figure out a December alteration.
So you all were saying November 17th? For November the 17th?
I don't think.
No, the 22nd.
22nd, oh, I'm not, that's wrong day.
Moving it to the Monday because November is an election month. So there's no city council meetings until December.
Mhm. I can't do the 22nd. And I know we're kind of dangerously close to quorum most meeting days.
Okay.
But just in case. 1, 2.
Why don't we take a vote? The 22nd is good for me.
Okay, if you can get 7 people.
Right, why don't we vote and see how many
22nd,
people
go
can
ahead.
come?
Go ahead and do that, but if you don't get a definite, can we have a backup date? Maybe you want to send it out by email and give 2 dates and see which one more people can definitely make it, so we have quorum.
So maybe the motion, I amend the motion to be that we have it on the fourth Wednesday of the month with the council, with the commission to determine the dates for November and December via email and to announce through the city.
Second that.
Gobbledygook.
We still can meet even without the quorum. We just wouldn't vote.
That is true.
Yes, we can meet. It just means that 4 of us are there at the meeting and then we can't put anything forward that's urgent that we need a motion for.
In terms of city council, the 17th, the 22nd in November and the 20th in December, from what it looks like should be open. Just throwing that out there. Because the council meetings, the first council meeting should be on the 13th and the second on the 27th for the city council.
It seems close to the holiday, but we can move on.
But the weekend, the Wednesday before that, if we stick to the Wednesdays, the Wednesday before that is a Board of Ed meeting.
Okay. Can we move to the Monday before in November? What? The Monday before the 22nd?
The 15th? Yeah, we could do that in November. That's in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah. But I mean, there's, as we know, there's plenty of eruptions and things to talk about. We won't have a lack of problems to solve for the.
I'm sure.
You mean Monday in December, that would be Monday the 13th?
We're talking
the fif-
November. We're talking
No,
November.
November. Okay, I was like, that would be run December. There
Yeah,
is
the date
something,
is fine
there's a
with me.
budget committee for school board that night. I don't know. I don't know if that's, I would assume that's one that's open to the public. But since we are getting into budget season, it would be good to have a quorum in case there's something we want to ask for funding for.
Is that a hearing or workshop?
It says committee meeting at noon, actually, now that I look at it, so don't worry about it. We'll find this.
Do we want to propose that November 15th? Monday night, 6 p.m. date? Does anyone here have a known conflict that they think they can't attend that date? Okay. India, what do you think about us making that the tentative meeting date? Yeah.
That's fine with me.
Thank you. Okay. Jess or Laura, do either of you or India, do you remember what I had for new business that I'm drawing a blank on? Get someone in my brain.
I'm sorry, but
I have it
this
ready.
for December, before we move on, I got November the 15th. Was there any decision made?
Do we need to vote on that?
I don't think we did.
We didn't vote.
Well, can we just have a show of hands to see how many people to make sure we have a quorum? For the 15th of November.
That's fine with me too.
And for December,
What's our proposal for December? Is there any alternative to the 20th?
We could do the 13th. Oh, no, we can't do the 13th. I lied. I'm just kidding. Oh, we could do the, oh no, I don't know. The 20th you said is too close to the holiday, right?
Oh,
Is this Monday the 13th?
Monday, the 13th, I'm pretty sure is city council meeting. Madeline,
Okay,
do you
there it is.
happen to have the schedule for city council meetings?
I think I should. What day were you looking at again?
The Mondays in December.
Mondays in December.
Is the school board meeting on Wednesday, the 15th? Is that what we're avoiding that day?
So I'm seeing a city council meeting on the 13th, but I believe the calendar I'm looking at is kind of like preloaded. So if they did decide to change it that month, it might not be reflected yet.
No, I
But
think
as
that's
right
accurate.
now- Okay.
I think that
yeah,
that's
I'm seeing the
accurate.
13th and a Board of Appeals meeting on that Wednesday.
Okay.
So is there a board meeting on the 15th?
Yes, there's a 6 p.m. board meeting on the 15th.
The 8th, maybe?
So, I mean, we could do it. I mean, we don't have to do it Monday and Wednesday either. We could do
Do
it
it Thursday.
Tuesday. We could do Tuesday, the 14th, maybe, because there shouldn't be any committee meetings because the commission will be newly seated. I mean, the council will be newly seated. Right? So they won't have any of the committee meetings that they normally have on Tuesday nights, the standing committees, because they won't, I don't know how that works.
Well, Tuesday, I can't do Tuesday nights.
Okay.
Okay, what about
There.
If we
Thursday?
could stick to Monday or Wednesdays, that would be better for me. I don't know
Okay.
about anybody else.
Yeah, it's just hard with the holiday.
And I don't know why Sheila didn't get back to India because she had said to me the second Wednesdays would be good. I don't know why. I hope she wasn't thinking that I was going to tell you. I thought she was going to relay that to you.
Mhm.
She never did.
Enid, can you do Thursday the 16th?
No,
Yeah.
that's a Bates PTA meeting.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, maybe India can be there, but I can't.
Yeah.
How many did not want December 20th?
We could do the 20th if that's the only available date that's left. Jess,
What-
you don't know when, Jess,
I
you don't
mean,
know
right
when-
now, what's that?
You don't know when Annapolis High PTSA is, do you? I don't know any of their dates.
I do not know their dates.
What's-
I keep missing them because I don't know them. Right now, I'm totally going to be totally prepared for the holidays by the 20th. So that sounds like a great night to have a meeting.
And
What
that
about
means you have time to come and help me, right?
Sure, no problem. I'll totally come.
I'm sure I won't be.
So was there an issue with the trying to move, because if the second Wednesday was being thrown around, that would work because there's no board meeting on the 8th, and it would be early enough in the month that it would kind of get us through before everybody gets busy.
That sounds good to me too.
I think just Wednesday, December 8th sounds good.
Yeah. that's fine.
PTSAs are on Tuesday.
Okay.
I make a motion that we make it on December the 8th. Anybody else? All those in favor?
All those in favor? Motion seconded.
Thirded.
Jess, is your hand up?
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. Just
Community
no
meetings,
2-hour
Joanne.
early dismissal.
Unity
What's
Day.
that?
It's early dismissal for Unity Day.
Sweet.
We can wear orange.
We should wear orange. Janet, community events.
Oh, okay, thank you. India, is it okay if I get into that business?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to point out a couple things that were on the Annapolis High PTSA Facebook page. Very helpful. So the high school is running a FAFSA, the free application for student aid, that if you want to enter into college, training program, community college, anything, you have to fill out the FAFSA in order to get any scholarship money, loan money, grant money. So they are doing a session, an in-person session for Annapolis High families. You know, you bring your income documents and they will crank you through it and get you out the door with a FAFSA filled out. And I believe that is, I will double check. So we encourage, so I'll make sure and send it around by email to the whole commission. Please distribute that widely to all your neighborhoods and your networks and stuff to encourage people to come out for that. The FAFSA opens up October 1st. So some schools start giving out their scholarship money. You know, I know University of Maryland College Park makes all their scholarship decisions based on the November 1st application. So it behooves parents to get them in early when the pot of money is available before it gets used up. The other event was sponsored by the Trauma Informed Leadership Team. And it is a poetry, slam, reading, healing event at Maryland Hall. And that I also have the flyer to distribute. I think that one is November 15th, but I will make sure we all have it and can send it out. It sounds like a really nice way. It's purposely designed to heal through trauma and grief with spoken word poetry
and things. So I think it'll be a very nice thing to have families attend. Thank you. Okay, so the FAFSA night for filling out the college forms is November 15th from 6 to 8 p.m. And trying to find the poetry slam. You can move on to anybody else's if you want.
I just want to say tonight was Noche Latina at Annapolis Middle School to try to help encourage families to fill out the free and reduced meals. So I'm just going to do another push. We have 4 more days for all families to fill out the free and reduced meals form. Please, through whatever your PTA, PTSA, community area regions are, please make sure that families know that even though everyone's receiving free meals this year, we still have to fill out the free and reduced meals form. That funding source is really important for our schools in particular. And so the more families we have that fill it out, the better it will be for everybody. So please do that.
Yes, I'm sorry, this is a little bit off topic, but I've been trying to figure out how to send you a message. I'm in a different place and it isn't working right. So Jess, could you send me could you please send me your address and your president of Eastport Elementary PTA? That's you?
I'm actually now the president just of Annapolis Middle PTSA. Neely Garrity is the newly elected president of Eastport PTA.
Well, could you email me your address or wherever the donation is supposed to go?
Oh yeah, yep, I'll do that.
Okay.
Oh, that was something. Thank you for reminding me about donations. Hold one second.
While she's gone, Janet, do you need your dates? I have both of them here in front of me.
Yes, so I pulled it up. So the Healing Through Arts series, a community conversation around trauma and grief, featuring international slam poet Gail Danley, is November 13th, 10 a.m. to noon. So that's probably a Saturday, Laura, at Maryland Hall. So we hope you can help join them.
That is a Saturday, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So we are doing a drive at Eastport Elementary through the community school program, and and as part of that, I'm starting one at Annapolis Middle. I'm going to largely talk about the Annapolis Middle one because the Eastport one is already established. But if anybody does Ipsy, which is I clearly don't wear a lot of makeup, but Ipsy is a makeup company, and they have they're called glam bags, and the makeup comes every month in these cute little bags. And so a lot of times people who do Ipsy have these bags sitting around the house, which they're keeping because they're cute, but then eventually they don't know what to do with it. I am collecting them. And we are going to start making emergency kits, menstrual emergency kits for students at Annapolis Middle. So I'm going to put some things out on the Annapolis Middle PTSA, but just if anybody has some Ipsy bags and wants to donate them or would like to donate any menstrual products or cleaning products or other things that teenagers could use in emergency situations, please, you can drop them off at the middle school. I'm gonna have a box there, and we are gonna start putting them together so that because what the schools are given to provide is maybe a little old and not so comfortable for teenage kids. So anyway, we're just trying to make it easy and not embarrassing, and they get a cute bag if they have an emergency.
I know Amazon has like small, 12 packs of like little makeup bags. Could you do if we were to order some of those for you, would that work?
I am not picky about the bags.
Okay.
Just needs to be little,
we did little teacher survival kits last year at Monarch for the teachers, and I ordered 120 of these cute little canvas zipper bags, and they had all kinds of cute little sayings on the front. There were a bunch that were specifically for teachers that we ordered, but they had other things that I thought would be cute for teenage girls. So I'll see if I can find them on Amazon.
That would be great. We just want to have as many as we can to make it easily accessible for the students who need them.
That's a great idea. And actually, I think India, I don't know if we have anything like that going on at Bates, but that would be a good incentive for something that we could work on for Bates as well, because we also have preteen girls that are perhaps not prepared for.
We can work together. We can have like a Bates AMS like joint initiative.
So are we still talking, no, new business? No, I want to ask a question. Are we on new business or?
Yes.
Okay. Are we going to start talking about the capacity of the crowdedness at Annapolis High School in the future? Because I mean, it's going to get even more crowded, or what's the right word? Crowdier or something.
More crowded, you're right.
Yeah, are we going to, discuss that or start talking about it? Because they tell me the hallways are packed over there. And I think that, the fire marshals had been there a couple times. I don't know what's going on with that. And does anyone have any kind of information about the fire marshals being there?
I brought that up at one of the other meetings. And when Kayla was here, Kayla was saying that she had seen that Facebook picture and that was a special day, a special meeting, and everybody was rushing forward to get to the meeting because once it gets filled, then you can't get in. So everybody was trying to hurry up and go. She said on an average, if I remember, if you guys would tell me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard her say it wasn't that bad on a daily basis. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Well, it's crowded and it's crowded
Right.
in the hallways and it's over capacity. I mean, didn't we
Right.
have the same discussion?
We did, and our projection, I thought our projections, we're now at 2,200, and I thought our projections are creeping up into the 2,400 and stuff way beyond when they're actually going to fix things and build more capacity. So we do need to get those discussions going ASAP, I think, and put them back on the radar of all our decision makers and funders.
And I think that's creating the problems that they're having at Annapolis High School with the fights and all.
It does not help when you jam people in and people are jostling each other and feeling, disrespected and trampled and all that. Yeah, it's not a good contributor.
But fights are an issue currently across all the high schools. I was having a conversation with, sending some emails with Jolynn, and one of the things she said is that this issue is true across all of the schools in the system right now, and it's mostly it's students who were not in school for a year and a half, sort of readjusting to the reality of having people in your space all day long after having had a year and a half of not.
And that's an excuse? That doesn't.
Not an excuse, just that it's not unique to Annapolis High School. Like even Severna Park and the brand new Crofton High School are having similar issues. Schools which are not overcrowded. I mean, yes, I'm sure the overcrowding is contributing to it, but discipline issues have increased at all schools across the country this year, but also across our county this year. And so there are a lot of other issues that are contributing to the discipline problems that they're working on.
Okay, so I mean, that would be nice to know how they're working on them then.
Exactly.
Janet has it.
In addition on this mental health issue and fights and things. So I hope everyone gets a chance to watch the AACPS presentation to the state delegation that occurred a week ago or so. And I will send a clip around with the exact timestamp of when our staff, the legislators asked AACPS about the staffing, whether staffing for mental health was adequate at Annapolis High, because Annapolis High, for the past 2 years in a row, the PTSA has adopted and advocated for an additional social worker at Annapolis High and maintaining the community ambassadors and those things. So the response from AACPS issued by Monique Jackson was that, yes, Annapolis High only has one social worker. However, they have more counselors than other schools. And that there's also additionally this program called Thrive Behavioral Health that assists the students when they have mental health, need mental health counseling. I can tell you that a friend of mine tried to access mental health counseling for her Annapolis High student last year. It took her 5 months and they finally gave up and never, got connected with the Thrive Behavioral Health person. After 5 months, they went with their own, trying to get their own appointment and pay for it themselves, even though their family didn't have any money. Because it was such a disastrous process to try and get help for her student. So I think we, as the commission here, need to take a look at what AACPS is telling our legislatures versus what we are experiencing in our schools, and bring that reality to our legislatures, lators. If anybody else has any experience with the adequacy of mental health supports in our high school or other schools, chime in.
As far as the overcrowding, then I know that when the board members, Joanne has not been in attendance a couple months now, but are we still, India, allowed to write and inquire about certain things? And maybe if she can't attend the meeting, she could still answer some of our questions? Because I think that's something that should be in the forefront. Maybe we can say, it's our understanding that AHS is already overpopulated. Is anyone looking at this issue? And if not, what can we do to enhance that? And then on the other hand, put it on our agenda for next month. And maybe we can, the PTA needs to also start bringing that up in, and the inner circle. So we can start getting that attention about it, because if it's that bad, then we need to do something.
So I just did the numbers, and Annapolis High School is at 105.6% capacity. The state rated capacity per this summer's educational facilities master plan is 2,083. We have 2,200 students, I think the number is, that Mr. G said at the last meeting. Just in terms of relating it to what Janet was just saying, the American School Counselor Association recommends 250 students per counselor.
We have 315 students per counselor. And it was said in a way, in kind of a dismissive way of like, well, Annapolis High has more counselors than other schools. Like, be thankful for what you got. Not, this is what our students need. Our students are higher poverty, low income than other schools. Our students have additional challenges than other schools. If we're truly going for, close all gaps, meet all students' needs mottos, yes, we need more than what
We
is
need more.
needed. We need more.
How many do we have, did you say, Janet?
We have 7 guidance counselors. And so for our 2,200 students, that averages down to 315 students per guidance counselor.
So we should have 9.
If you've been in high school lately and seen the complexity of the college application process, Naviance, even career pathways, asking for a transcript, asking for letters of recommendation from your teachers. It's incredibly complex. And so our counselors are doing all those incredibly bureaucratic things in addition, and they're not mental health support for the kids much anymore. They are logistical crunchers who help guide the kids toward pathways, but they're rarely having the time to be mental health support at all.
So
I would like to add
Annapolis High to be a standing item on the agenda.
I would like to add this to next month's agenda, that the adequacy of mental health support for Annapolis High be a topic, and that we have invited AACPS representatives to talk about this, and, you know, and our delegates and senators, especially since it's budget time.
Thank you, Janet. I think it's and I would say, yes, that picture was of people going into the auditorium at Panther Hour, but that's still students going into the auditorium at Panther Hour, right? That still was very crowded. And I don't think anyone who attends the school will tell you that the halls are not crowded. You know, the halls are crowded. We're at 105.6 capacity. It is a crowded high school, and it's a crowded older high school as well, right? I mean, I don't know the last time it was renovated. I'm sure that master facilities plan that I was looking at could tell me.
Well, can somebody, you know, just get the report from, no, I've been told that the fire marshal's been there a couple of times. Anybody know anything about the fire marshals showing up?
I think that's a good question to ask at the PTA meeting.
And we could file a Public Information Act request if they, you know, if they come out for a visit, they're going to have to file a report. So
But I mean, if the fire department comes out, are
Yeah.
they looking at a particular room? Because they know what the school population is. So when the fire department comes out, are they looking at a particular, like the auditorium or the band room? And what exactly? are they doing?
cafeteria?
I don't know, did they come out for capacity issues, or did they come out, you know, previously for the boiler heating malfunction things? Were they coming back to re-inspect that everything was going smoothly? Why do we know why the fire?
Well, I think that when that first picture was posted on Facebook or something, they came out. I think, you know, some kind of way, you know, I guess they were told to come out and check it out. And then I don't know why I was told that they came out a second time. So I don't know why. But they say the
Okay.
cafeterias are packed, the lunches are packed. I don't know. So
Mhm.
it's just that, you know, that when Tyler Heights got over, what was the capacity at Tyler Heights? And then we built a new school or whatever.
Right.
I mean,
They were at least 100, they got up to like 136%
Right.
capacity.
And we are predicted to be at 100. Oh, I just lost it. Hold on. We're predicted to be at 122% by 2030, which isn't that far away. My children, my youngest son will still be at Annapolis High School
And it
in
may-
2030.
maybe sooner than that, Jess.
Well, and that's the thing. We were predicted to be at 103% this year, and we're at 105.6%. And if you look at the facilities, and I can email the facilities master plan out to everybody. The additions, renovations were 04, 14, and 15. But the evaluation of physical condition is good. So there is no current plan for Annapolis High School to be renovated. We are not on the renovation. Look, I'm sorry, I'm looking sideways because half of the things in this thing are sideways. But we are not anywhere in the anywhere close to getting a renovation or an addition, I think, unless we start advocating for it.
So if we ask Joanne, maybe, and if that's okay, if everybody's in agreement, maybe we can get India to just shoot her an email, then we can inquire at the PTA and then bring it up for next meeting.
Pass it along to the PTA president, Mary Grace Gallagher, to ask
Okay.
on that behalf.
And so many teachers are, are on carts, I mean, they don't have their own rooms anymore. So that's not good for morale. I mean,
It
maybe
certainly isn't.
You say, Enid, it isn't? It's not good
It
for
is
morale?
not good for morale. You see, no, it's not a good feeling. You don't have your own space. It's not a good feeling at all.
And it means that your planning time is probably spent in one of the departmental rooms, so you're not
Right,
really
and
in
you're
a
going
quiet
from
place.
here to there, and don't let there be a change in schedule or something. Crazy.
You a teacher, Enid, so you should know. Mhm.
Any other final comments or announcements?
Just thank you all for continuing to work so hard on all the different issues that we're experiencing. Our kids deserve it, and they deserve our voice speaking up for them. They deserve our emails. They deserve our holding decision makers responsible. Thank you for what you guys do.
Yes, thank you. And congratulations to everybody who fought so hard for school start leaders. That was an exciting thing to see happen.
We spend a lot of time complaining about things that are broken, and it's nice to see a sincere effort being made to fix something that's been broken. So.
Don't
It is.
talk too
And
fast,
just-
Ma.
Anyone from the school system who's watching, thank you. We're so
Thank
happy.
you. Thank
And
you.
I
an
would wait until
acknowledgement,
next year.
and an acknowledgement that a lot of that movement came from Annapolis High and Annapolis Middle parents. They were the largest percentage of people attending those meetings that were attended 10 years ago, staying on, really had a huge representation from our Annapolis cluster, that issue. And I'm proud of all the work that they did, our Annapolis High teachers.
I was attending those meetings 15 years with Tara Snyder up in Severna Park.
Right,
20,
right.
That's 20 years, I think.
20 years and stuff.
I think we should also acknowledge that we understand that this is change, and change is going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of change. It's going to be changes for families. It's going to be changes for the teachers. I would like to say, I just want to put out there to all of the Ward 8 people that are listening in the whole city, because I don't just represent Ward 8, that I promise to stay on top of the changes and make sure that things are done in the right way to make the changes as non-negative, as positive as possible, right? So that we can be proactive about the changes and make sure that it ends up for the best for our students, not just say, yay, we did it, and then forget about it, because this is going to be a lot to change over the next 9 months, and it's going to be a year, and it's going to be great. But I think we're all, this is going to be an ongoing conversation, obviously, on the commission.
If there's no other business, I make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.